Alright, you guys asked for it. You loved the Fever Racket tier list video, so now I am doing the Mario Tennis Fever character tier list instead. The characters in this game are way more balanced than the Fever Rackets, where you can play perfectly well with anyone, assuming you know how to take advantage of their strengths. So if you see, like, the character you play in a lower tier, right, keep playing them. You can specialize in them and their abilities and become really, like, just a unique player and push that character further. If you ask me, I think it's more of an accomplishment to be known as the best, or, like, at least close to the best of an off-meta player in a game compared to, you know, just playing meta and just being pretty average. If you happen to get results without using the meta, it'll be even more satisfying whenever you do, and you can maybe even make a name for yourself depending on the type of game you're playing. Before we go any further, though, I want to clarify I am no longer Mr. Top 100. My rank in this game has dropped. I'm not a Top 100 player anymore. I know, shocking news. I just haven't played ranked since I reached Top 100. I've been busy making these videos for you guys and, you know, trying to help you guys out, and I already achieved my goal anyways. All I wanted to do was reach Top 100. I didn't really care to maintain it. That's way too stressful for me and just time-consuming as a whole. Like, I'd rather just have fun with the game, take it less seriously, you know, make some fun videos for you guys as well. I also want to mention that this tier list was made with the singles Fever Racket game mode in mind. I'm sure overall this list will be accurate enough for the other game modes as well, but like some characters might go up by a tier or, you know, drop off by a tier, so I just wanted to clarify that as well. Starting off with D tier, we have Chain Chomp and Boom Boom, who are by far the worst characters in the game if you ask me. Chain Chomp is very weird to control in the first place. He's also much weaker and slower to control than a lot of the other power characters in the game. The only advantage he has going for him is that he takes 0 knockback, but like that little trait's just not enough to make him like move up a tier. Boom Boom, on the other hand, is just... I think Boom Boom is just the worst character in the game, actually. Over Chain Chomp, surprisingly. He is horrible to control, where like his left and right movement is perfectly fine, but up and down, it is so bad. It is very easy to take advantage of his weaknesses, especially whenever you're using Fever Rackets. It's bad. In C tier, we have Nobody. I think there's enough of a gap from Boom Boom and Chain Chomp to the characters in B tier, so I made C tier and I just left it completely empty. Anyways, on to B tier, we have quite a lot of characters for B tier, actually. We have Luigi, Baby Mario, Peach, Baby Peach, Waluigi, Baby Waluigi, Toad, Toadette, Kamek, Drybones, Nabbit, Diddy Kong, Luma, and Piranha Plant. Luigi and Baby Luigi are practically the same in which, like, you know, they're similar enough, but regular Luigi's just better by a lot just because of his stats, and he's just much bigger, and he's taller, he has a bigger defensive reach as well. His main trait is that his slices are really strong, which is a perfect shot to go for if you're getting spammed with a bunch of top spins. Other than that, there's really not much else to say about him, he's just kind of an all-arounder. Baby Mario is the exact same thing as I mentioned before, where, like, you know, Mario's just better than Baby Mario, as Baby Mario just has a much shorter defensive reach. I'll go over regular Mario in a future tier, as everything I say there pretty much applies to Baby Mario as well, so just be aware of the disadvantage of Baby Mario compared to regular Mario. Peach and Baby Peach are, by absolutely no surprise, the exact same thing as I mentioned before. Peach is just better. Peach is really good at making your opponents run all over the court with her shot accuracy and her precision. She's also really good close to the net. With Fever Rackets, this is very handy as it can set up quite nicely for some Fever shots. However, she's just pretty slow and weak outside of that though. Waluigi and Baby Waluigi, you already know what I'm going to say, exact same thing. Waluigi's just better. As their classes would suggest, they are defensive, right? They're tall and they have long arms and legs. Or more like regular Waluigi has that, definitely not Baby Waluigi. He's great at getting into rallies and charging Fever shots, but outside of that, there's just not much going for him. He has a powerful flat shot, but that's about it, really. I think in order to score consistent points, you really have to rely on Fever shots. Toad is very fast and great at rallies, but outside of that, he's just not the best. Just like Waluigi, for consistent points, I feel like you're gonna have to rely on Fever shots for the most part. Toadette, in my opinion, is just Peach, but worse. Toadette shares the same playstyle as Peach, but it just comes down to, like, you know, if you want a longer defensive reach and a little bit more power, then you're gonna go with Peach. If you want less defense, less power, and a bit more spin, you go with Toadette. Kamek is essentially Boo, Bowser Jr., and Blooper, but just weaker and has less ball control. He has some pretty good slices and even a curve to his topspin, but he just gets completely outclassed by all the other tricky characters, which I'll be going over later on. Drybones is very slow, and his main gimmick is that his drop shots curve. In my opinion, it just doesn't do that much as, like, it's never really gonna catch anyone off guard. It's, you know, nothing that a regular drop shot couldn't do in the first place. Navid's gimmick is that his forward-hand shots are significantly better than his backhand shots because of his little bag sack thingy or whatever gets in his way. The power stat on the stat screen really doesn't do him justice, as I feel like whenever I played a few games with him, he feels so much stronger than what the stats show he is. Overall, he really is quite good, but it's just like the backhand part that makes him stay in B tier. If you find that you're able to play around his weakness though, like, he's extremely good and he can easily go up to A tier. Diddy Kong, just like Toad, is very fast, but outside of his speed, there's really just not much else there. His gimmick is that his slices charge up quickly, which is, it's nice, but it's just not that powerful in the first place, and he just doesn't have much ball control either. Like, don't get me wrong, the slice is a good shot to go for, especially, like, whenever you want to recover fast from top spins, but, like, I think it's the worst shot to have, like, a special gimmick to, if that makes any sense. Well, you know, like a special charge-up gimmick. Luma's very interesting, as he shares pretty much the same thing as Navi. He has a pretty big weakness, but if you know how to play around it, you're gonna find Luma very good. Basically, when returning the ball, you want to wait for it to bounce and then hit it, like, right after it does, as, like, if you do that, the ball's gonna go a lot faster. It gets a lot more power. If you hit the ball without it bouncing, it's gonna be pretty weak. It's really all up to you, though, on how well you, like, make do with his weakness, alright? Like, he definitely has the potential to go up to A tier if you know how to play around his weakness. Piranha Plant's gimmick is that he has some really high bouncing top spins, but outside of that, there's just not much else, really. You can play him extremely well if you use those top spins sparingly and you don't get too predictable with them, as, like, if you do, your opponent can easily just flat shot slam them back to your side. Moving on to A tier, we have Mario, Daisy, Pauline, Wario, Baby Wario, Shy Guy, Spike, Birdo, Yoshi, Paratroopa, Koopa, Dry Bowser, Wiggler, and Goomba. Mario's alright, you know, he's pretty average at everything, and that's enough to make him an A tier if you ask me. Granted, Luigi has pretty average stats as well, though, but I think Mario's stats are just better, so I'd rather put him in A tier instead. Also, if you ask me, I think there's some, like, little hidden shenanigans going on behind the scenes of this game, as sometimes the stat screen does not show how the characters actually play. Like, I think Mario plays a lot better than what Luigi does, but that's just me. Daisy has an amazing super strong top spin that can really catch your opponents off guard if they're not expecting it. It can also set up very nicely for fever shots as well if your, like, opponent's out of position after returning one of them. Pauline is extremely fast, and she has a very good defensive reach. She is perfect to rally the ball back and forth with your opponent, and she's very good defensively as well. But I feel like you really have to take advantage of your fever shots, as outside of that, you might have somewhat of a hard time scoring. Wario and Baby Wario are somehow the only two, like, baby and adult counterparts that I feel like they're different enough, if you ask me. Like, I think Baby Wario, he just feels better and quicker than regular Wario, despite having the same speed stat on the menu. I think the speed difference from Baby Wario, I think it just completely negates the negatives of being a baby character. So yes, actually, for once, I think Baby Wario is better than the adult Wario. And that is the only one in the game. I don't know why, but it just does. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Both are, of course, still good, though, but, like, if you wanted, like, the biggest advantages possible, and you're like, I'm a stats nerd or whatever. Oh yeah, you might want to pick Baby Wario. Again, though, just keep in mind nothing that I just said right there of Baby Wario being better than regular Wario is true, right? Like, this is just my opinion. Nothing is factually proven there. So, for all you know, I could be lying. Anyways, besides that whole stuff or whatever, their main gimmick is they have an extremely quick topspin charge, which that is a amazing shot to be able to charge quickly. The topspin also takes advantage of their power as well, so, like, both go, like, hand in hand with each other. It's a good combination. Shy Guy's main gimmick is that he can land powerful topspin shots to the edge of the court. Normally, you can only land regular topspins at the edge, which is basically just pressing the topspin button one time instead of two, if you didn't already know that. So the fact that he can land the powerful versions at the edge, it can really set up for a very good position if you know how to play him. He also has great shot accuracy as well, but, like, other than that, it is pretty difficult to play him successfully, though, and I feel like you're gonna have to put in a lot of time with him. If you do stick around with him, though, he might even be S tier as well. Like, his playstyle will definitely reward you for putting in the time with him. You just really have to take advantage of the powerful topspin. That's really what it comes down to. Spike has great power and great defense thanks to his big racket that he's using. If you're looking for an all-rounder that specializes ever so slightly in the power stat, he's definitely the character to pick. Birdo, just like Spike, is pretty much an all-rounder, except Birdo has a quick charge on her flat shots. The flat shot's pretty okay to have a quick charge on though, so it's not bad. Yoshi is extremely quick like Pauline and Koopa, and funny enough, I actually find him to be a bit stronger than both of them. If you're ever after a speedy character who's also pretty strong, Yoshi's definitely a good pick for you. Paratroopa's gimmick is that his lobs are very quick to charge, but outside of that, he's pretty average at everything else. Not bad. You can definitely play around his strength of his quick lob shot charge speeds, and, like, you can really take advantage of it. Koopa's very fast, just like Pauline and Yoshi, but his gimmick is that he can charge the quick drop shots. He's really good at rallying the ball back and forth, and with his gimmick of quick charge drop shots or whatever, right, you can definitely take advantage of it, especially with Fever Racket's own. Dry Bowser is essentially Bowser, but worse, except for the part that he has, like, a really good backhand slice. To me, though, regular Bowser is just Dry Bowser, but better, and I'd definitely pick Bowser over Dry Bowser if, like, you're picking off of stats. I'll go over Bowser a bit later, though, so stay tuned for that. Wiggler's gimmick is that he's really quick, but he's just hard to change directions, and I've played him a good bit, I would say, and, like, I can't see it. It's pretty easy. I feel like you really need to rely on scoring, like, with fever shots with him, as, like, again, he's very fast, which means he's also pretty good at rallying the ball back and forth, and that's perfect to charge up your fever gauge. Or meter, whatever the hell it's called. I don't know. Goomba's basically another all-rounder, just like Spike and Burrow, but he specializes in the speed stat. He also has a very good topspin from what I've noticed. Moving on to S tier, we have Rosalina, Bowser, Bowser Jr., Boo, Blooper, and Petey Piranha. Keep in mind that this S tier is not ordered whatsoever, as I feel like I just have too much of a hard time to decide. I genuinely think in this tier, all the characters have the tools to succeed with them. I think it just comes down to the player using them in this tier. Starting things off with my main and favorite Mario character, we have Rosalina. And I'm gonna be honest, I really do not like that she is S tier and close to the meta. Like, you guys know, I always choose the characters that I like the most, regardless of, like, how good they are in the game or whatever, or their stats or like, you know what I mean. I pick the characters I like, and that is it. She just happened to be S tier in this game, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little disappointed, but whatever. Anyways, with all that out of the way, her stats are amazing, right? Like, she's basically an all-rounder with a large defensive reach, and she has the best lob in the game. With Rosalina, the lob shot is most definitely your best friend, and you should definitely be incorporating that into your gameplay. Alright, now we got Bowser, who I said is just Dry Bowser, but better. And the reason why I think so is because of his insane topspins. They send you so far back. With Fever Shots and Fever Rackets, this is an insane, like, thing to take advantage of, as, like, it sets up so nice for Fever Shots. To me, I like Bowser's stats much more than Dry Bowser's, and again, I'd rather have Bowser's insane topspin and strength over Dry Bowser's backhand slice, but that's just me. Bowser Jr.'s topspin curve is without a doubt his biggest strength, and outside of that, he still has some pretty good stats. It's really all up to you as the player, though, on how you'll take advantage of his topspin curve, because again, it's really good. Boo and Blooper play similar enough where I'm just gonna cover both of them at the same time, and obviously, like, their insane slices is what sets them apart from everyone else. Blooper's slices will curve a little bit upwards and then diagonally down, while Boo's pretty much just stay level the entire time. It's pretty much up to you on which one you like more. Why their slices are amazing is, like, even if your opponent knows it's coming, it's still enough to put them, like, out of position, and then it sets you up so nicely for a fever shot. Petey Piranha has a pretty good defensive reach, great power, and he has an amazing flat shot. You can very easily take advantage of his power, just like Bowser, and, set yourself up for some fever shots. In S+ tier, it is just DK. I don't think it would be fair to put DK into S tier with the rest of the characters there, as I feel like he has way more than enough traits to set him apart from everyone else. He has the same traits, basically, as all of the speedy characters who are good at rallying. He has the power to put your opponents out of position all the time, pretty much like Bowser. He has an amazing defensive reach, and if that's not enough for you, Mr. Mario Tennis Fever even gave him a special slice that's really powerful and can spin your opponent backwards. By a pretty decent amount, I would say he's the best character in the game, but, like, if you ask me, especially, like, when playing with Fever Rackets on, I feel like the character just still doesn't matter as much as the racket. Without Fever Rackets, though, yeah, I imagine his strengths are even greater, though, but, like, let's just say with Fever Rackets, you can most definitely play with almost anyone, especially if you know what you're doing. Again, don't let the meta of DK scare you from playing to your character's strengths. If you know how to use someone very well, stick with them and get better. The meta all comes down to the person that's playing the character.